Today we're going to use Tinkercad to make a useful part in just a few minutes, so let's get cracking.
All right, so let's explain the project really quick. This is for my new pool vacuum robot. If you haven't seen the robot tutorial, I'll make sure there's a link in the description. Love the robot, but I want to have a separate pole for pulling the robot out. This is an old pole I had for a different pool, and it does not fit this adapter. So what I have done is I've simply made a sleeve that goes over this side, and then of course this piece slides in right here.
Before I go any further in today's project, I do want to mention that today's project is brought to us by PCBWay.com. Their easy-to-use website is my go-to whether I'm doing a 3D printing, CNC, or PCB prototype project. They offer prototyping for as low as $5, and you can also have your parts assembled. If you're looking for 3D printing or CNC, PCBWay.com offers a full suite of services that are useful whether you're running your very first prototype or a full batch of parts. Of course, you can learn all about it by checking the link in the description.
Totally fits like a dream, and I could not be more happy. Friends, let me show you how we got there. This should not be a surprise. Step one was to measure. I've got a caliper, so we can find that that was about 25 millimeters. And then I could measure and find out that this was about 28.5 millimeters, somewhere close to there. Of course, I also measured these distances, and I measured the distance for the holes. And then I also want to show you this. This is a small part that I printed to test to see if my math was good. I always print a small piece before I print the full size parts.
With the measuring complete, let's bounce to Tinkercad.com. Tinkercad is the absolute easiest place to learn computer-aided design. It is 100% free. You can simply choose sign in with Google. Our designs are all stored to the cloud. You can choose to make them private, public, or you can use the wicked cool shared link, which allows you to copy this link so other users can have a copy of your project. Typically, we start over here with create new 3D design. Today, though, I'm going to simply launch mine and show you what I built. So this is the pool pole adapter. This is where the robot piece will slide in, and then this one will slide over top of the other part. I left a hole here so I can add a screw to lock it in place. Of course, this will be for the little white parts that come with a normal hook. These right here are parts that I print ahead of time to test my fit. If we double click, you can see this is just the entire project with those two chunks cut off, and then this one right here is cutting off all but the top to make sure that fit was perfect as well. Notice we double clicked so we could edit or look inside that. Once you click outside the edit, it goes back to its normal shape. Note this is one of the smartest strategies is to print a small bit. This only took about 20 minutes to print, where this is going to take more than 2 hours to print because I'm doing it in strength mode because I'd like to have the part last. All right, so let me show you what we got here. If we double click this, we've got these two holes and we've got the green sketch. I'm going to open this. Notice it is a sketch revolve part. If you have not checked out Sketch before, please make sure you check out the Sketch features. These are upgraded all the time with skills that'll make you more talented as a Tinkercad designer. Whenever you're done checking them out, you can simply click the X to return. If you prefer my tutorials, I've got a full playlist. You can track it down with the bit.ly right here. Now I have zoomed way out because this is quite a large part. If you look over here, you can see what it turned out. This is how magically we built it. So all I did was hit the letter P to start a straight line. I stretched it up. Notice if you hold shift, it stays straight. I went as high as I chose. Right now I'm doing 93 and I'm just going to hit escape. Now, right now, this will show up inside here, which is kind of goofy. Don't worry about that. I'll get rid of it in a second. Notice I did keep the 2 millimeter width, and then I just nudged this out to get the radius we need for the diameter of our part. Mine was somewhere close to 25, so if you check this out, I went out past 10, and then I ended up going 3 more, and then I switched to the tenths because I was adjusting fit. and I moved out another 0.2, so you can just zoom in and see how I adjusted that. Now that's what's so slick about this is we can adjust these again and again. So this was the main base part. Up here, I've got the longer extension. Notice I nudged it out a little further. And then this is my favorite part. I built a tiny piece that just bends out to give more strength to this area. Notice these three parts run into each other. That ends up giving us a nice solid shape. I do also want to highlight up here. See this rounded end? I did that by simply going in here and turning on the capped ends. That makes that look a lot more fancy. I chose to keep this end flat just in case you chose to print it standing up. I did not choose to print it standing up because I was trying to make it a little more strong. Once we hit finish sketch, that is our part. Of course, remember the pink means we're editing, so if I click outside, you can see it union group and it is ready for 3D printing. How cool is that? A super slick design that you can put together in just a few minutes. I'm going to click on it right now and choose export as an STL. Notice I only had the selected shape. I'm going to call it pool adapter and I'll put a 2A because it's really the same, and we'll simply save the changes. Now we can bounce to Bamboo Lab Studio. We're going to create a brand new project. Simply add our part. Notice this is the 2A. I'm going to print this with PLA. Normally I would use ABS, but I don't have any in the moment, so we'll see just how long this PLA lasts as well. I'm going to switch to the generic white. I'm going to make sure that I got the 20mm strength, and then I don't want this to snap along these seams, so I'm going to lay this on its side. I'm going to get it close to where those holes are. And then because of the way that's balanced, I am going to turn on support. I'm going to tell it build plate only and critical regions. And let's hit slice plate and it'll be done in a little less than 3 hours. Let's hit print plate and send it for 3D printing. All right, and a little less than 3 hours later, we have got a functional part. I'm going to peel off some supports and let's go do some testing. All right, so of course, tree supports snap off super easy. And let's test the fit. Course number 1. Bingo. Hook in place. How cool is that? And bingo, it is slid into place. I'm going to drill a little hole here and just fasten it so that it stays. All right, so let's wrap up quickly. The first thing I want to mention, of course, this wasn't my most detailed tutorial. If it was your first time using Tinkercad, please check out my Day 1 playlist and my Sketch playlist for great starter tutorials. I have got a ton of them and you'll be gaining skills in no time. Of course, if you think of a cool use for this technique, I would love to hear it. Don't forget you can also check out the HLModTech digital library. It is my attempt to take my 5,000 videos and make them a little more organized so you can have more success. I do also want to mention, stay tuned because I'm going to send this part to PCBWay and have it printed with some fancier materials so we can see just what that is like as well. I do want to quickly say thank you to everybody that supports me via YouTube memberships. Don't forget there are 3 levels of support starting as low as $5 a month. With any level of support, you get early access to videos. Make sure you also pay attention for those members only posts. A massive shout out as well to everybody that supports me via Patreon. Love how that group is growing. We're way past 600 members. It is a fantastic free messaging area where you can ask questions, post designs, gain skills. Of course, you can learn more with the bit.ly up above and the link in the description. Finally, friends, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget every time you like, hype, share a video, add a comment down below, or click subscribe. You're helping HLModTech get just a little bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day, and keep tinkering.